Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, AARO, dumpster fire, AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, David Grusch, dumpster fire, AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, David Grusch,
for the masses.
Gary Nolan, AARO, Gary Nolan, AARO found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, the lack of any evidence. AARO found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, the lack of any evidence. Trust me, bro. Don't worry about the evidence. David Grusch. Trust me, bro. Don't worry about the evidence. David Grusch, with zero evidence.
No credible evidence thus far.
With zero evidence.
No credible evidence thus far.
Kirkpatrick's evidence. Where is AARO's evidence? Kirkpatrick's evidence. Where is AARO's evidence?
If I call your mother a hooker, if I call your mother a hooker, if I call your mother a hooker, mother a hooker, if I call your mother a hooker, if I call your mother a hooker, if I call your mother a hooker, mother a hooker.
Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
If I call your mother a hooker, mother a hooker.
Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
If I call your mother a hooker, mother a hooker.
Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. AARO.
If I call your mother a hooker, mother a hooker.
AARO.
Hooker, 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 hooker.
AARO.
Truth seekers, seeking the truth. A truth so bold it's hard to hold. Truth seekers, yeah. Place the cash, place the cash.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Tonight, we're going to be covering some recent revelations about Dave Grusch, who, for those unaware, is a high-ranking former military officer, Air Force, in fact, and intelligence officer, who some time ago, 337 days ago, made some out-of-this-world claims that anybody familiar with UFOs and aliens has probably heard before, that the United States government is in possession, in fact, of alien spacecraft crash debris, and even alien bodies. Interestingly, it has since been learned that David Grusch has very close ties and associations with many of what I call the UFO promoters, and others have called the spooky hustlers, the same group of people who have been making these out-of-this-world claims, but never actually providing evidence or proof of those claims for many years, in some cases decades. So we are now at 337 days. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The excuses for this man to stand up in front of Congress and make these allegations and claims without providing a single shred of evidence is honestly mind-blowing to me. Equally mind-blowing is the media's copy and paste narrative. Dave Grusch made these claims. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of media outlets simply copied and pasted his claims into what most people would call credulous articles, articles which just took Mr. Grusch's claims at face value without actually taking a moment to step back and say he hasn't provided any evidence whatsoever of his claims. So now we're at 337 days, and many people have suggested that at 365 days, which we're coming up on here, just another 30 days or so, I should bake a cake and we should have a 1 year, still no evidence from Grusch party. I have been covering this story critically since it began on June 5th, 2023. I will continue to cover any developments in the Dave Grusch saga. You may be aware that over the weekend, I put together two of what I believe are my favorite pieces that should educate people on the claims of Dave Grusch. An entire 5 or 6 hour special about so-called UFO whistleblowers of the past. I believe that history truly is our greatest teacher. And what we learn when we take a step back and look at these claims through the lens of history, what we learn is that no previous so-called UFO whistleblower, including many high-ranking intelligence and military officers who made claims very similar to Grusch, ever proved any of them or ever provided any evidence of their claims. But they all have one thing in common. They all profited a great deal. I'm wearing the right shirt for this today. They all praised the cash every chance they got, telling their evidence-free, faith-based belief stories. Recently, a researcher on Twitter, which I admire and respect, I'm going to add his links in the description of the video, made some significant progress towards proving that David Grusch is misleading the public. Now, I should say that Mr. D. Dean Johnson is sort of a gentleman. He's kind of like others that we've talked about here. I lack the tact that some other more professional, I would say, researchers or journalists have. He was very, I think, fair in his assessment, but still, showing that Dave Grusch and by extension his followers and the people promoting his story have been misleading the American public, have been essentially lying to all of us. And the proof is very clear because after all, Mr. Grusch is making claims that should be investigated by the proper governmental office to investigate these claims, and that would be AARO. Once headed by Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who has since retired and left. But interesting that Mr. Grusch fails to provide any proof or evidence to the very governmental office that is tasked with investigating his claims, but yet still somehow claims to be some sort of whistleblower. Where have we ever seen in history that the whistleblower comes out and says, "Can't show you my evidence. I know you're the proper authority to investigate my claims here that I'm blowing the whistle on, but can't show you any of the evidence. I gave it to this other office." But what we're going to see in our presentation tonight is that this is very misleading, I would say outright deceptive, and just lies. If you are going to call yourself a whistleblower, maybe you should show evidence to the proper investigating authority. All we have gotten from Dave Grusch for 337 days now, and by extension his supporters and the UFO profiteering whores who are profiting, some would say that hundreds of thousands of dollars have been made. And I know I get messages in the comments and people send me nasty messages. If you can do third grade math, you can add up all the monetized views on YouTube alone. That's not counting audio podcasts. Promoting David Grusch's evidence-free claims, and see that hundreds of thousands of dollars has been generated from Dave Grusch telling his stories, but yet there's no evidence. And we've talked about this in great detail. I have a real problem with what I call the UFO circle jerk crowd. If you're going to cover a story but only cover one half of it, you're not doing anybody any favors, but I guess you're doing your wallet some favors, because after all, people who just promote these evidence-free claims get hundreds or thousands times more the views than people who do it the proper way and show both sides of the so-called evidence. But it's kind of hard to show both sides of the evidence when so far Dave Grusch has not provided any. But don't let things like facts and evidence, we've learned this before, you do not let things like facts and evidence get in the way of a good fake story that you can profit from. So we're going to get into our presentation. And by the way, I do want to apologize. Last week was very, look, I'm just going to say this. Can we all acknowledge that show hosts, including me, are human, and sometimes life gets in the way and things take you away from that which you would prefer to be doing. I would prefer to do a show here every night. However, I have a wife, 2 children. One of them is a nonverbal autistic special needs child, which requires a great deal of time, energy, and attention. And I've also got some financial interests outside of this show that need my attention, at times need all of my attention. So last week, I honestly did the best that I could do. It was one of the toughest weeks in the history of our show. I did one live show, and then I put together 2 sort of montages, one of them 5 or 6 hours long, and one of them an entire 9 hours long on UFO crashes. Oh, I forgot to mention that earlier. If you're interested in the claims being made about many of the things that Dave Grusch has said, please check our video section. There's 14 hours of material for you to educate yourself on the history of both people making these claims and on the stories of so-called UFO crash retrievals. Once I did sort of a wide view of these things, I came away quite honestly underwhelmed. For all of the claims that people make, the evidence is virtually non-existent, unless you count stories. We get plenty of stories in UFO land. It's just, the problem comes when you ask for evidence. And also, I just wanted to mention, because I got several messages about Michael Schratt's presentation in that UFO crash piece we did. I wanted to include both sides of the story. And Michael's sort of a true believer, who, by the way, makes really beautiful, if you're into UFO porn like I am, nice pictures of aliens and UFOs and alien crash retrieval sites. Michael Schratt does a great job of that. But I will agree with some of our viewers who said that essentially what Michael Schratt does is make pretty pictures to go along with evidence-free stories, which I can see how some people would say that really doesn't help. It's just providing another layer to add to the story. Like, here's some pictures to go with the story that still has no evidence. And while I strongly disagree with many of Mr. Schratt's conclusions, I like Michael Schratt. He's an interesting fellow, and I hope that he and I will remain friends and just agree to disagree on things. There's things we completely and totally agree on, like Bob Lazar, which is interesting, but we disagree on many other things. And as far as who he works for, listen, it's not my place. I've expressed what I feel about Michael Schratt and some of the people that he has allowed himself to be employed by. It's not my place to tell a man, there's an old saying, I think it's from isn't it from The Sopranos? Like, nobody gets to tell you how to cover your nut. It's not my place to tell him who he can and can't work for. While I strongly dislike and disagree with some of the people that he worked for, I'm not going to tell him who he can't work for. I have expressed to him that I think that his credibility is affected by some of the people that he's associated himself with. It is what it is. I like him as a person. I'm not going to attack him. I'm not going to, and for anybody that says I'm giving him a pass, I'm telling you exactly the same things that I would tell Michael to his face. We're good. We're okay. And I think it's a good idea sometimes to include the believer side. If we have somebody that's willing to come here and share their thoughts and opinions, even if we wildly disagree on their conclusions, we can still learn something from that. And I, for one, am all for that. Sometimes there's some very militant skeptics of my audience, and I love and appreciate all of you, but you have to be kind to the guests or we'll never have any. So we're going to get into the Dave Grusch situation first, because I think that people have a tendency to miss some things when it's kind of hard to digest. And let's be honest, I remember the days of blogs and everything was in a blog or a text website. But, the media landscape has become much more multimedia based and rich in video and audio. So some people miss some of these things because it requires you to have to go old school and read a lot of stuff. And I get it. Some people don't have the patience for that. And I want to make sure that I remember to tell you this person, Dean Johnson, is just an excellent researcher. And it's at Dean, D-E-A-N, Johnson, Johnsson, for the benefit of the audio listeners. I highly recommend that you follow him because he does some excellent work. So he has a piece here called More Zigzags by UFO Whistleblower David Grusch. Former Department of Defense senior intelligence official Chris Mellon said to Sean Kirkpatrick, then the director of Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Research Office, AARO, in a June 13, 2023 signal message contained in a FOIA release obtained by John from the Black Vault. Inserted below, I spoke with Dave Grusch at Kirkpatrick's request, and his first question was, why hadn't AARO gotten all the info from the intelligence community Inspector General of the intelligence community? It is all there and fully documented to include confirmation on the alien technology program is real from active cleared insiders, unquote. On June 13th, Kirkpatrick texted back to Mellon, DOJ Department of Justice has to release it since it's part of a criminal investigation. They haven't yet. He, Dave Grusch, needs to come and tell us separate from his criminal complaint. By email on April 19th, I asked Sean Kirkpatrick a series of questions seeking to understand what the Department of Justice had to do with any of this. He replied to me on April 20th, 2024, Mr. Mellon and I were referring to both of Mr. Grusch's IG complaints, which fall under Department of Justice rules and authorities. In order for AARO to have received any of his evidence, the Inspector General would have to release it, which would require Mr. Grusch to authorize. He did not. There is no other investigation. So that's interesting. All of you people that are falsely claiming that the intelligence community Inspector General is investigating Mr. Grusch's alien and UFO claims are completely and totally mistaken. Mr. Dean goes on to say, the answer surprised me. So I then asked Kirkpatrick, do I understand correctly that to this day, AARO has not received the detailed alien reverse engineering allegations that Grusch says he provided first to the ICIG, then to two intelligence committees in 2022, and that the ICIG would have been willing to release those transcripts to AARO if Dave Grusch has authorized it, but that Grusch refused to authorize the release of the transcripts to AARO or failed to respond when asked to authorize such a release. To this, Kirkpatrick responded on April 21st, 2024. Yes, that is correct. I conveyed this to his attorney in a phone call, that all he has to do is authorize release of the ICIG transcripts. That did not happen. In a further response to me on April 22nd, Kirkpatrick said, quote, both the ICIG and DODIG have been supporting AARO insofar as whistleblower protections legally allow them. David Grusch said on May 3rd, a written statement to News Nation, reproduced below, to be clear, AARO does not have access to the information I provided to the Intelligence Community Inspector General and to the Congressional Intelligence Committee under PDP 19 whistleblowing process. Dean goes on to say, my comments on the above in the FOIA release obtained by John Greenwald, we saw first that Grusch challenged Kirkpatrick via Mellon as to why Kirkpatrick had not examined the ICIG interview transcript. Yet now we learn that subsequently, Grusch failed to authorize the release of those same transcripts to AARO, after AARO explicitly asked that he do so. Regrettably, this appears to be another example in an emerging pattern of zigzags and substantially misleading public statements on certain matters by Grusch. In light of the communications that were occurring as early as June 2023 between Grusch and AARO, some of which now are spread to the public record thanks to the work of John Greenwald, I believe that Grusch engendered a misleading impression in the public's mind regarding AARO's interest in hearing his testimony. Grusch, October 31st, 2023 statement to News Nation calling Sean Kirkpatrick a liar for saying that AARO had repeatedly reached out to Grusch was misleading. Kirkpatrick was entirely truthful in the specific statement to which Grusch was reacting. Misleading in some way, in my opinion, is the second sentence of Grusch's May 3rd, 2024 statement to News Nation. We should also recall Grusch's words to the Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna during the July 26, 2023 UAP hearing before the National Security Subcommittee of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, when Grusch said, quote, I had a classified conversation with Sean Kirkpatrick in April 2022 before he took over AARO in July 2022, and I provided him some concerns I had. I was happy to give sage counsel to him on where to look when he took the helm of AARO. From that exchange, no viewer would have gotten the impression that Grusch would be unwilling to share his classified testimony with AARO. Grusch might have good reasons for not participating in a classified interview with AARO, but Grusch's stated reasons for not participating in a classified interview with AARO have been contrived and implausible. So essentially what we have here is, everybody is saying, well, he gave the intelligence community inspector general all the evidence. Yeah, and he's supposed to be giving that evidence to AARO, and he could. All he has to do is authorize the release of that information from the ICIG, who could then give it all to AARO. He has so far either refused or denied doing that. He will not allow the office of AARO to get the same information. Why is that? Some have been speculating that he knew that the intelligence community inspector general would not, I repeat, would not investigate his alien and UFO claims. So he gave some evidence to them, knowing it's worthless to them. They're not going to investigate anything, but AARO is investigating all the claims made to them. So maybe, just maybe, this is a shell game, because Grusch had heard through the grapevine, and I've heard this from several sources, that some of these people going to AARO heard that AARO is exhaustively investigating the claims that people are making to them. Perhaps Mr. Grusch knew that his claims could not stand up to real investigative scrutiny, and therefore didn't want to give that information to them. So essentially, nobody claims that Grusch is legally obligated. The article goes on to state, nobody claims that Grusch is legally obligated to submit to an interview with AARO, or that AARO has any authority to compel Grusch's testimony. If a lawyer's client does not wish to do something that he is not legally required to do, that lawyer might provide his client with ideas for optical justifications for what the client has already decided to do. But that is something very different from asserting that the client would be placing himself in legal jeopardy by complying with the formal requests of high-ranking government officials. So one of the other excuses is AARO doesn't have the required clearances to see the evidence that Mr. Grusch has. That has been proven completely and totally false. And one of the other excuses is, he could go to prison if he releases that information to AARO. He gave it to the ICIG. This is all a shell game. Grusch could give that evidence to AARO. They're legally entitled to have any evidence at all, according to the Office of AARO and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Dean Johnson in this article goes on to say, Sean Kirkpatrick told me April 20th, I don't want to speculate on motivations, but clearly as documented, we gave every written authorization assurance and pointed to the law as written, authorizing AARO to get him in to review his evidence. We had Office of General Counsel, Department of Defense, provide an official Pentagon read of the law to Mr. Grusch's lawyer through the Congress. We also provided further ODNI, Office of Director of National Intelligence, assurances. In the face of all that, he has still not come in. I even spoke with his attorney directly. Given all of these efforts, I would say that any commentators suggesting legal prudence are perhaps blind to the truth and are continuing to peddle misinformation. So every excuse that Grusch has for not giving his evidence to AARO, which is the office that's supposed to be investigating his claims, fall apart under scrutiny. And here's where it gets great. Is the Intelligence Community Inspector General currently investigating alien tech claims? As I previously reported on this platform, Sean Kirkpatrick told me on April 22nd, to my knowledge, neither the Intelligence Community Inspector General nor Department of Defense Inspector General are separately investigating those claims of a government-orchestrated extraterrestrial reverse engineering program. That was and is AARO's responsibility as covered by the historical review legislative language from NDAA fiscal year 23. Both the Intelligence Community Inspector General and the Department of Defense Inspector General have been supporting AARO insofar as whistleblower protections legally allow them. So, you know, I hate to say this, but all of these stupid people have been arguing with me for almost a year now. Oh, no, Stephen, he gave his information about the alien crash retrieval programs to the DOD and the ICIG, and they're investigating his claims, and they found his claims urgent and credible. That is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. None of that is true. Mr. Dean goes on to state his comments on the above. For my part, I do not claim to know whether the ICIG is continuing to investigate any of the alien tech allegations that were made by Grusch in his interviews with the ICIG. The visible clues conflict, but I do find it curious that some advocates on UFO Twitter seem to be taking the position that the director of the Pentagon Intelligence Community Office, who was specifically empowered and tasked by Congress to probe alien tech allegations, among other things, could not possibly know whether the ICIG is also engaged in alien tech investigation. Yet they are confident that they do know, or at least the UFO-friendly writers on whom they rely, who hold no clearances at all, nor any congressionally endowed authorities, do know. Yes, I know about the remarks by Senator Marco Rubio on October 24th about the Intelligence Committee standing aside while allowing the ICIG process to be completed, but I noted also Rubio's comments on a later date, February 8th, 2024, when Laszlo asked, are we going to hear from those people, whistleblowers within the Senate? To which Rubio responded, there's a whistleblower complaint filed by one of them, and ultimately, I mean, we haven't spent a tremendous amount of time on it lately, but I was hoping that's what AARO would do. That sounds to me like Rubio assumed that AARO would be checking out Grusch's allegations, and now we know how that is gone. If the ICIG and AARO staff actually were independently investigating some of the same alien tech stories, presumably ICIG staff would have approached some of the same people who have been interviewed by AARO or have been contacted by AARO. It also seems that word of some such ongoing contacts by ICIG investigators would get around. Is there any evidence that is happening? Has any UFO whistleblowers gone on the record with a credible report that the Intelligence Community Inspector General investigators have knocked on their door recently, say within the past year? And by the way, despite the certitude of some advocates, I have not seen any public claim by Grusch himself or any attorney representing him asserting that they know the ICIG is currently pursuing an active investigation of Grusch's alien tech claims. Nor does Grusch make such a claim in his May 3rd statement to News Nation. Instead, Grusch said only, I trust in the investigative and law enforcement criminal referral authorities, ICIG, as independent of DOD oversight. Because I'm writing a longer article on some of these matters, I submitted a number of related questions to David Grusch media team on April 19th, to which I have yet received no response. Before my longer article is published, I will again submit questions to Grusch. I hope that Grusch will not fall into the pattern too often found among UFO celebrities of declining to engage with anyone who is not willing to receive what he says as purely stenographic or sounding board mode, or to uncritically amplify even implausible claims. And then there's a section here on Grusch and Senator Gillibrand, which is interesting. Regarding UFO whistleblowers, and forgive me, we're skipping somewhat ahead, told Laszlo, I can't assess them unless AARO can talk to them because AARO knows what they know and what they've seen and what they've been shown. I queried Kirkpatrick about the attempted Gillibrand-Kirkpatrick-Grusch meeting, He replied by email May 3rd. The meeting was canceled by Mr. Grusch and his attorney. That was the Senator Gillibrand referred to. Both she and I conferred together to try and arrange the meeting through her office. That was yet another attempt for us to get Mr. Grusch to come in. I do not have a reason why they declined and canceled. He later elaborated. This occurred fall 2023, likely October, November. We didn't document it because it was being actively handled through Senator Gillibrand's office, and I was working it with her right up until I retired. Hopeful he would come in. I wasn't going to get ahead of her. It was up to her when we would acknowledge we were trying to negotiate with them. It may be that Grusch has some pertinent information that Gillibrand is not clear to hear, but both the senator and Grusch have access to legal counsel sufficient to avoid any violation of security protocols. So is that yet another meeting with Kirkpatrick or AARO that he canceled or failed to appear at? You know, and it seems very clear to me that Kirkpatrick has gone above and beyond trying to get this man to show his evidence. Show your cards, Mr. Whistleblower. And his continual refusal to do that, and his continual, I don't know, this looks like one big shell game to me. Oh, I have all this evidence of alien technology. Great. Can we see it? No, can't show it to you. Great. So to finish up the article, Mr. Dean says, enough for now. I think that non-prosaic UFOs exist. I don't know if the government has technology of non-human origin squirreled away somewhere, but if they do, I think we ought to know about it. Yet, preferring for something to be true and then hearing unsubstantiated stories from people who say that thing is true does not necessarily mean that that thing is true. Indeed, we should be especially cautious about too readily accepting unsubstantiated stories about things that we would prefer to be true, nor should we accept or reject a claim based on an individual's style or swagger. Hero worship is a poor substitute for the tedious business of examining evidence. I am working on an article dealing with some of these matters in greater detail, and will publish it one of these days. If you want to receive it by email as soon as it comes out, sign up for my website. Google Douglas Dean Johnson plus Mirador, Mirador. It is free. Your email address will not be used for any commercial purposes, and you can remove your name at any time. I recommend signing up for his list because then you get a notification when he publishes a new article. We can see by the quality of his work here that he does great work. He closes this with saying some of the other material on that website provides case studies in why it is advisable to be cautious in these matters. And here is some of those original messages from Sean Kirkpatrick speaking to Christopher Mellon. And isn't it interesting that dark journalists sort of reported that Christopher Mellon is sort of the gatekeeper and puppet master of Sean Kirkpatrick, of David Grusch. Let me say that again. Christopher Mellon is the gatekeeper or puppet master of David Grusch, deciding who he can and cannot speak to. And now we see that in order to get information from Dave Grusch, you have to go through Christopher Mellon somehow, which doesn't make any sense. I don't understand any of this, but Christopher Mellon was also, some people would say, the mouthpiece or handler for Lou Elizondo for quite some time. So isn't it interesting? Same person that brought us the fake Pentagon UFO program director is bringing us a fake whistleblower who can't show us any evidence, and he can't even show the proper investigating government authorities his evidence, where he has obfuscated, avoided, eluded, and done everything he could to avoid AARO. And I freely admit that this is speculation on my part, but I truly believe that he's doing that because he knows that he doesn't have evidence that will stand up to scrutiny of a good investigator. And it appears that the people at AARO are decent, at least, investigators. They are investigating these claims that people are making, as well they should. We're going to take a moment here to recognize some kind and generous people. I have the right shirt on today. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. UFO Shane gifted one Truth Seekers membership, and then another one, and then another one. See my friends. Thank you, UFO Shane, longtime show supporter and member himself. See my friends, this is why you should smash that subscribe button. For those unaware, when people gift memberships, you can get a free membership just by being a subscriber. Apparently, YouTube takes those free memberships, runs some kind of random number generators, and then distributes those free memberships to people on our channel who are subscribers, but not yet YouTube channel members. And what do you get? As a YouTube channel member, you get some extra goodies and also some YouTube extra goodies like that YouTube channel member badge, so people know you're a big supporter. Priority reply in the messages and video comments and live chat and whatever else we could do for you. We appreciate that, UFO Shane. Thank you very much for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
And we have also Complizared. If you're a member for so many months, they give you a free sort of super chat. You can write a message. Steve, I wish you would then handle Ashton Forbes in just the same way you do with Shrat. I'm not sure I understand what that means. What? Yeah, let me know what you mean. I'm not sure I understand what that means, you know. And I haven't said I wouldn't speak to him, but given the way that he just treated me in a live chat and talked to me like I was a dog or a piece of shit, you know, not feeling very, very cordial or like inviting, right? Definitely bring up the facts that Jason said. If you don't give back the alien biologics, we're all going to die. Yes, thank you. And High Speed Chase, look at that. Here's another reason to subscribe. There is now 10, 11, 12, 13 free YouTube memberships for our channel here. So make sure, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. If for no other reason, you might get some free shit, like a free membership. Thank you, High Speed Chase. He's the MVP of gifting these free memberships. We appreciate all of you. Boy, I should wear this shirt every day. Apparently, it's good luck to wear a Praise the Cash shirt because it helps you to
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yes, it does. And yes, UFO Shane, I certainly thank you, High Speed Chase, MVP of free memberships here. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us, all of you, kind and generous people. Let me go to Jason Sands. So many people have been asking me for an update on this other so-called whistleblower who hasn't provided any evidence either. That, you know, people keep asking me for an update on this person, Jason Sands. I'm trying to find it now, UFO Shane. If you're on Twitter, send me that. Where did I put it? I put it here somewhere. Let me look in my notifications, right? One second here. Yes, so Jason Sands has made some outrageous claims. And I tweeted earlier, why can't I find it? Let me, just bear with me one moment, friends. We've got more for Mr. D. Dean Johnson coming up, but let's get to the Jason Sands stuff. Why is that? Yeah, I'm sure that I retweeted this earlier. Oh, yeah, I found it. Let me, High Speed Chase with another kind and generous $10. Keep up the great work, brother. Got music here on the way. I'll be in touch. Good. I need a good guitar player. Thank you, High Speed Chase, for your kindness, generosity, support, and, of course, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, High Speed Chase, and all of you generous people. We appreciate all of you. Complizaret, let me know in all capital letters what you meant by your comment. I don't know how you're expecting me to treat that person. Hasn't been very kind to me. In fact, is accusing me of defamation or something. No, the purpose of our stream and our show here is never to embarrass, humiliate, or whatever anyone, or certainly not defamation is never our aim here. It's to educate people, to give them the evidence and let people, you know, sort of make up their minds as to what they believe. Showing somebody that a hoaxed UFO video is fake is not defamation. And, you know, I'm sorry, but should somebody be foolish enough to try to sue me for defamation because I said a video was fake, then I'll just bring all the evidence from all the VFX artists that have said that video was fake to court with me. And any reasonable jury or judge would say, okay, that's not defamation. You were just showing people data and evidence. But it is what it is. You know what it is? If you're some loser that nobody's ever paid attention to your whole life, and then you stumbled across a conspiracy theory that a lot of people like, and you got on a lot of big podcasts, so you built this huge following, you know, he's getting real mouthy lately. He's getting real bold, threatening to sue critics and sue debunkers for debunking the videos. And it's it's something else. But let's get to Jason Sands before we get back to this other article by D. Gene Johnson. I just wrote, if you didn't already think wackadoo, start thinking wackadoo. So this is Jason Sands. Do you know something about 2027? Jason Sands says, yes, the information I had was quite chilling for the program folks and will apparently take place in a time window that I heard was between 2025 and 2035-ish while in mission. Somebody says, can you explain what you mean while in mission? And Jason Sands says, yes, I and 3 other analysts intercepted a phone conversation that mentioned the 2025 to 2035 timeframe. We were on a mission for the program at the time. And somebody says, what was chilling and what is happening between 2025 and 2035 timeframe? Jason Sands says, what was chilling was that if the program folks don't return the retrieval materials and biologics by the time above, the responsible parties would be put to death. He's saying that if the government doesn't give back the alien spaceships and crash retrieval materials and the alien biologics, that the responsible parties will be murdered, put to death. Juan Furia, this explains the sudden controlled disclosure and NDAA clause some in the program may be aiming to avoid. Oh, God. Jason Sands says, yes, I still advocate for planned controlled disclosure. There has to be a degree of amnesty for those who have made mistakes, and I informed Congress on a need for a discrete turnover process. I have and continue to try to save as many people as possible. He's trying to save these people from getting murdered. They're going to get murdered. Jason Sands, you are correct in my opinion. It seems the program is going to come to an impossible impasse. They come forward of their own accord, or they face judgment by the non-human intelligences. One way or another, the lies will end. He says they did not list names nor company names in the telecommunications. I did think the folks who are keeping the stolen tech and biologics are the ones at risk. There are others in the program who are not involved in that part of the retrievals and are safe. And somebody says, when you refer to intercepting a phone call in the NHI stating about the time frame, who did you hear talking? What was their call? This was a call with non-human intelligence on the line. Yeah, ET phone home. He was listening to phone calls and the aliens were telling the humans. This was humans. I think you're going to have to clarify a little more about what and who you heard. It's probably important you clarify ASAP. And Jason Sands says it was a conversation between a biologics person and another individual. So there you have it. The new so-called whistleblower, Jason Sands, is essentially saying, listen, if these government bureaucrats don't give back the alien biologics and the spaceships, they're going to be murdered. I don't even know what to say about this, friends. What am I supposed to do with that? So for all you people asking for an update, here's the update I have on Jason Sands. If you didn't already think wackadoo, you better start thinking wackadoo. You know, this is one of the problems I have with some of these people. It gets more and more grandiose. Now there's a situation where he heard a conversation that aliens are going to kill people if they don't give the alien bodies and the alien spaceships that they recovered back somehow. And of course, this comes from Vicky Verma, who posts the stupidest shit, I have to say. But it is what it is. Yeah. I really don't know what else to say about Jason Sands, but people keep asking me for some sort of update on him. And all I can tell you is that he's saying that if they don't give the alien crash retrieval materials and the bodies back to the aliens within 10 years, the people responsible are going to be murdered. See, and this is one of those things, like, it's a good story, right? But what is the evidence of that? Oh, I heard a phone call once. I was listening into phone calls. And by the way, I get that his job was to be some kind of telecommunications officer, maybe, but is he supposed to be listening into intelligence community chatter on phone lines while people are speaking? Is that legal? Can he legally surveil and listen to private phone conversations that people are having? Does this make any sense? I mean, I'm not an intelligence guy. Maybe they do that. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. And this is where his information is coming from. I was eavesdropping on people that deal with the alien bodies, and therefore the aliens are, I learned that the aliens are going to kill everybody that won't give the bodies back. Come on, man. It's getting a little deep. But here's what I will say. So many people have said, interview him, Steve. I'll do it if I can get contact information for him. I have found him on Facebook, but I think you have to, I can send him a message, but it's going to be in his message requests. And given his age, some of those older gentlemen don't know how to work Facebook. I doubt he'll get the message. But if somebody has an email address for him, be sure to email it to me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. I will say this. Given how many UFO celebrities are attacking that guy, I would speak to him just about that. Why are all of these other grifters coming out and saying that you're full of shit when they're clearly full of shit? Like, it doesn't make any sense. High Speed Chase with another one, $2, kind of generous, and says he can legally be a Wookiee spanker. Absolutely. Thank you for helping us praise cash. All right. At the risk of taking too long here on the Grusch story, we have a special guest tonight, which I can't tell you how happy I am. There's a woman named @Cryshlee, and she has a YouTube channel called Cryshlee TV. You might see pinned in the live chat. I pinned her YouTube channel in the live chat. I was so excited when I found this person, because they are single-handedly just destroying these fake MH370 videos. She's an incredibly talented VFX artist, an animator, computer graphics person. And on her YouTube channel, she is expertly just ripping apart those videos as what they are, fake, which is interesting. Let's get to this next piece, which applies. He kind of covered it in the first article, but I think this is an important enough issue that we should talk about it. I don't know what that's about. So Mr. D. Dean Johnson says, one of the burning questions of the day is whether the Inspector General of the intelligence community actually is actively engaged in an investigation trying to find out if there exists a hidden program in possession of alien tech. As I sketched in my May 4th long post, the clues conflict. Sean Kirkpatrick is now on the record to me stating, to my knowledge, neither the ICIG or DODIG are separately investigated as claims of a government-orchestrated extraterrestrial reverse engineering program. Both the ICIG and DODIG have been supporting AARO insofar as whistleblower protections legally allow them. So, all of Grusch's supporters are saying, oh, no, he gave the evidence. It doesn't matter. He gave the evidence to somebody that's not investigating anything he gave them evidence about. Waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what the ICIG and the DODIG are concerned with and investigating. That's what they find urgent and credible. If somebody makes a claim of waste, fraud, and abuse, they find every claim of waste, fraud, and abuse urgent and credible, and they investigate those claims. But The claims that they're investigating his alien claims is completely and totally false. You've been lied to by the UFO profiteering whore scumbag selling you this fake story, and by the man himself, Mr. Grusch. Mr. Dean goes on to say, while David Grusch has said he gave extensive interviews to the ICIG in 2022, I have not seen anywhere Grusch saying that he knows that the ICIG actually continues to investigate the alien tech allegations. If he did say that within the past year, somebody please show me where he said it. This is distinct from an investigation of Grusch's complaint that he suffered illicit reprisals somehow connected with his inquiries. The ICIG referred to reprisal aspect to the Department of Defense IG Whistleblower Reprisal Investigations Directorate. If Grusch is not satisfied with the results of the reprisal investigation by that entity, Grusch would still have the right to request that the ICIG convene an external review panel under PPD 19. By law, the ICIG would be one member of any such ERP. However, whether the ERP is in fact convened is solely within the discretion of the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Over and above what Grusch has said to the Intelligence Community Inspector General matter, if someone actually has solid evidence that the ICIG is actively investigating hidden alien tech allegations, not in 2022, but let's say within the past year, I would love to see it, except if it is classified, in which case I do not want to see it. And again, Sean Kirkpatrick, to my knowledge, neither the Intelligence Community Inspector General nor the Department of Defense Inspector General are separately investigating those claims of a government-orchestrated extraterrestrial reverse engineering program. That was and is AARO's responsibility as covered by the Historical Review legislative language from NDA fiscal year 23. Both the ICIG and DoD have been supporting AARO insofar as whistleblower protections legally allow them. So this is yet another of the dominoes that fall. This is a complete and total joke. The Intelligence Community Inspector General is not now, nor have they ever, to my knowledge or anybody else's, been investigating Dave Grusch's alien and UFO claims. So what we get with Dave Grusch is a shell game where he continually, they play games with words, like the urgent incredible lie. That fell apart. Now, everybody claiming that he gave the evidence and the Intelligence Community Inspector General is investigating his alien claims. No, they're not. No, they're not. Prove me wrong. Yeah. So I'm excited about tonight because, listen, I have been screaming into the void about these MH370 videos for quite some time now. And what is incredibly shocking to me is that the promoters of these things, yeah, I'm glad you're here. So Cryshlee is here. So the promoters of these videos, I'm going to ask our special guest tonight, who is a VFX artist, an animator, an expert in these matters. But we're up to, like, I've seen at least 10 people either debunk or recreate these MH370 videos who would be considered experts in VFX in a court of law. People that have 10 and 20 years experience in VFX look at these videos and say they're fake. And the promoters have done everything they could to try to get around these debunks, even up to and including threatening to sue people, destroy people, and more. And we'll show you some stuff on that. But for now, let's let me make sure I have the right thing here. So I recently found this person's YouTube channel, and I can't tell you how happy I was because I feel like I've been screaming into the void. And my problem is, though I have a background in computer science, I'm not a VFX expert. I've used After Effects. I've used Blender. I'm a real big fan of Blender on Linux, but you know, I'm no expert. I've made some crude animations. Sometimes you may see, you know, 3D text of truth seekers. I make those, but I'm no expert in VFX. But what's so stunning to me is how many experts in VFX have come out and said, these videos are fake, and here's why. And the promoters of this video and these false conspiracy theories, by the way, you know, it's kind of slimy because 239 people died in that tragedy. I don't think they want people making money on the internet pushing fake UFO videos saying that their family members got teleported by aliens, but that's just me. So this person's YouTube channel, it's Cryshlee TV, is pinned at the top of the chat. At least I believe it is. I'll have to check in on that. If it's not, I will make it so. So we're going to welcome our guest, Cryshlee. Welcome, Cryshlee.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Awesome.
I'm so glad you're here. For those unaware, Cryshlee did a stream earlier that just sort of shows exactly, she's a virtual effects expert. She's doing a live stream that's several hours long, educating everybody, showing exactly how these videos were constructed from the stock effects. And people are still in the live chat arguing, no, it's a cover up and all these things. But before we get started, I'm curious myself. Can you just tell people I know you're a VFX expert. I've seen your live streams, but can you tell people about like your years of experience, your education in these things, how long you've worked in VFX? Because I think it's important that we got to say, look, Cryshlee, if I have a leaking pipe in my basement, I'm not a plumbing expert. Right? I'm going to get an expert in plumbing and say, all right, if you say, but somehow with these videos, even people that have decades of experience, people are still arguing with them that have no years of experience. So tell us about your experience and education in VFX, just so we know you're qualified to render an expert opinion on these videos.
Yes, absolutely. So I think I first got into art in general. I was in high school. After I got out of high school, and I went to university, and I learned about 3D. I think I was using 3ds Max.
3ds Max. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I think after that, after I left school, I moved on to Blender since it's more open source. I don't have to pay for the the subscription, all that stuff.
It's so
I started
dense,
doing
that program, though. It's so difficult to learn how to make it do anything. I still work on it, but I am, not
there's
very
a
good
learning
at
curve,
it.
like with most programs, I would say.
Yeah. So you've learned 3ds Max and then Blender.
Yeah. And then after, I think right around that time, I started getting into Photoshop, and there was another one that was still in its like baby stages, which is Clip Studio, which is more of an art program. But recently they have like more 3D capabilities. After I left school, I went into teaching, and I started teaching in a school in my city. I started teaching 3D. I started teaching, it was more like a general, we kept changing the subjects, but we did game design, we did 3D, we did.
Oh, that's a great thing to get kids excited about and teach them.
Yeah, they were really engaged. We made some great games, actually.
My son is 8 and obsessed with games. He would love that. He's Minecraft guy now, but now he's getting into video game designer programs, and he's like, I'm going to make my own. I'm like, you go do it, Yeah.
If you want to get into this industry, right now is the best time. Like the barrier of entry is very low. They're making it a lot more accessible these days for regular people, like, people who don't have the background to get into it, I think. And after COVID happened, I had to leave the school. So we kind of dropped that, and I went into business for myself. I started reaching out to a lot of music artists. I did a couple of music videos, animations. I've
seen your demo reel, which was incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah, you can
being
see,
like a hobbyist
in there in the demo reel.
Yeah. I'll do that while we're talking, so people can see some of your work, if you don't mind. You have one of your demo. Yeah.
And that's what I've kind of been doing so far. I was with a studio previously, but I left there, and I'm doing things a little bit more independently now. And most of my work right now currently is corporate. But once I saw these videos pop up, I was like, no, I need to involve myself in this and kind of show the obvious VFX elements in it, because I feel like people are being really misled with this.
Yeah, that's a big understatement, if you ask me. And I wanted to ask you if you were aware. A lot of what I do here is that we sort of peel back some of the layers of deception people use to deceive and profit from some of these things. one of the things that really bothered me is that when the first few VFX people or computer graphics people that looked at these and did a video or said these are fake and here's why, suddenly on Reddit there came these anonymous posters who claimed that they were like the head of Marvel VFX or the head VFX person on Top Gun Maverick, and that these videos could not be faked. You know, there was this, it felt like there was this active disinformation campaign being put against the people who were the real experts. It's like, okay, we have an on-the-record source in the form of Corridor Crew. Regardless of what you think, there's 3 or 4 guys that would be considered experts in this field. They looked at the videos and said, these are fake and here's why. And the retort or the rebuttal is, no, an anonymous Reddit poster, they're the virtual, you know, the VFX head for all of Marvel Studios said that those guys are wrong. And it's kind of childish and ridiculous that somebody would go to those lengths. Like, do we not stop to think, what's that person's name? And by the way, I made a bunch of phone calls and I couldn't get to either of those real people to find out, but I believe other people have. And they didn't make those posts. So people are using fake evidence to prop up the fake video after experts like you rip them apart. Doesn't that say something about their validity? And, you know,
I don't, it's a very, I think that the other thing about this that is just so interesting to me is the ability for people to look at something and see something completely different. I'm not, because it's one thing for somebody to just say something, but if someone will come out and show you what's being done and you can still say, no, you're lying to me, then I feel like it's beyond belligerent. It's kind of like, it's like,
yeah. And by the way, I want to compliment you because sometimes things get very personal here in our live chat and people argue. And one of the things that seems to be a real problem is, like, let's take, for example, for those unaware, the person who took the pictures that were used to create the background came forward and said, I took those pictures. He even showed like his passport, the plane ticket receipts, and he provided raw files, which have all of the time, date, stamp information proving he took them long before the videos were made. And people are in your live chat saying, oh, he's part of the cover up, or somebody paid him, and you refuse to accept that. And I like that stance to just say, if you don't have evidence, don't impugn that person's credibility. He has no reason to lie, and you guys are, in other words, to try to disprove the debunks, people are basically calling people liars and scammers, which is wrong.
Just straight out, just calling people liars, scammers. What else do they call them? Fakers, frauds. And the problem with that, it's a huge problem, especially for the poor photographer. There's one person who has been, I can probably link it to you elsewhere, but if you go to his profile and just search the name of the photographer, there will be pages and pages and pages worth of tweets from this person, just calling him out, and not even
harassing him. Yeah. That's how they try to silence the critics so that the grift can continue, you know? You're screwing up the grift, so they try to just shut you up and silence you. And you've been threatened. And
yes, I have.
Yeah. You
and
have
just
been
for showing the VFX, like that's how serious this has become. And it's so.
And let me just make sure my audience understands. Like, unlike me, who I start calling people cocksuckers and yelling and screaming about scammers and grifters, and you know, her streams are so professional. She's just like, show, like, matter of fact, like, here's this asset, here's how this asset was used to create the teleport effect. It's and you're very matter of fact about it. You're not getting personal like I tend to, like, you know. Her streams are amazing, and she's not allowing people to disparage the truthful people coming forward that show, hey, you know, these are fake videos, and here's why. Like, it's so insane to me. For people unaware, they found the explosion effect or the teleporting effect. It was on a website since 2009, an asset site. We have the guy who took the pictures that were used to create the background image of these fake videos, who came forward with all the evidence and proof that prove he took the pictures, and people are still arguing. People are still arguing that the videos can't be faked. And one of the other things I wanted to compliment you on is, I'm sure, and if I get this wrong, he's free to correct me, but Ashton said something, the promoters of this thing said, yeah, we decided we're not going to get, we're going to just try to stick to the data tonight and not the people. So one of the major promoter of these fake videos has on the record said something like, these videos could not be reproduced unless somebody had a whole team of experts, and I don't know if it was tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and unlimited resources or something like that. He said they couldn't be reproduced. And I just want to compliment you, Cryshlee, because you're one person, and in hours on your live streams, you're recreating every aspect of this by yourself. Which means he was wrong about that. They can be recreated.
It's not even enough. It's not enough. You don't know how many comments and messages that I've been receiving. Like, why aren't you doing it start to finish then? Why can't you recreate it point by point? But someone has already made a shot-for-shot recreation of one of the videos. And when he posted that, they said, you just copied the video. And I'm just like, so there's no satisfying. And that's the trap here. I can put as many hours into this as I want to, but there will always be people who will look at that and say it's not enough. But I think the only answer to that is honestly just continuing to put out the truth and just ignore it. You can't come to me and demand me to make anything. I'm not going to do that. I will show you how it's done, but I'm not going to.
They do make demands. They go, well, show me that the stills were on that site before the video was made, and then you show them that, and they want something else. Exactly. I fell into that trap. Cryshlee, there's something called Brandolini's Law. Are you familiar with that?
There's something called what?
There's something called Brandolini's Law, and I fight that all the time with some of these hoaxers. Brandolini's Law essentially says that the amount of energy required to dispel bullshit is orders of magnitude more than it takes to create it. And I feel like it really does apply here, because look at how many hours you've put into this. And you're just one of the VFX people that have done that. There's 10 VFX people. If we count Quarter Crew, there are 3 or 4 people. I've seen 4 or 5 others. And then you look at all that energy that everybody has to expend. This is beautiful work, by the way. I love it. The amount of energy that these people require you to expend to dispel their bullshit is truly orders of magnitude more, and then meanwhile, the promoter can just say, the videos are real, you're destroying your reputation, I'm going to sue you. It's ridiculous.
The suing aspect is really interesting to me. I'm sorry if you can hear this background noise.
No worries.
The suing aspect, what standing is there for me to be sued? That's my question.
I know you're going to be sued because you showed people that these are VFX. This video is VFX and it's not a real video. It doesn't make any sense. I think maybe some of the grift squad's getting desperate trying to keep the grift going as more and more. I'm going to try to collect them up, Cryshlee, all of the debunks.
Yeah.
And make a video and say, no offense to the promoters of these fake videos, but how are you going to argue with all of these industry experts? Look at Cryshlee's work here. I
not just argue, but provide no evidence to back up your argument. Yeah. Not a single person has put forward any visual, tangible evidence that anything that what I'm saying is false. Not a single person. And then
I got to tell you, I was very impressed with how you stood up for yourself in your chat and said, if you're going to say, Cryshlee was great. She said, if you're going to say that photographer is a scammer, show evidence of that. I'm not allowing that in my live chat. You're not going to damage his reputation. You really stood up for him, which I was happy to see, because that guy didn't do anything wrong. He's trying to
It's terrible
educate people. Yeah.
It's awful. It's so awful. I can't just, it makes me so sad to think about.
And while we're talking, I'm going to share your latest video just so people get a sense of what you do on your channel. And I checked, and this video is pinned in the live chat. So if you're watching or listening, please go to the pinned video and make sure that you subscribe, because this I think Cryshlee is doing a community service here, which is something that we feel strongly about. We make some free documentaries to try to educate people on hoaxes and hoaxers. And we try to help educate people, and Cryshlee's doing the same kind of thing over there, but from a perspective of like, here's how the videos were created. I'm going to just mute it if you don't mind. Just want to give people a look. And this is a key. And by the way, Cryshlee is also in there doing a Q&A. You can ask Cryshlee any question while she's showing you exactly how these videos were faked, and she'll answer. I thought it was so great, your stream earlier. I'm glad that I wasn't going to reach out to you because I don't know you. I'm like, I'll just ask her. If she's doing great work, just ask her to come and explain this to us. So here you're explaining how the teleport effect was made, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how this teleport effect is made, and talk about the arguments that it doesn't match pixel for pixel with the asset, and how it's so stupid? Because I know, just as an amateur sort of digital artist, that, you know, artists, they put filters on things, they stretch things, they bend them.
Absolutely.
So for somebody to make this argument that that asset does not match 100% pixel for pixel, isn't that a stupid argument, Cryshlee, from the perspective?
It's not just an irrelevant argument, but the fact that we're trying to also match this to a super low resolution video at the same time. Like, it's gone through so much compression after converting, and you know, all these different things, that all these different processes that it has to go through. That's, of course, it's not going to be 100% pixel for pixel match, but if we can prove that it matches at least with a 90% degree of certainty, then there's nothing up to debate here. It's clearly the same silhouette. So what I'm doing, what I'm doing here is I'm modifying the silhouette. So it took the color information from the original Shockwave asset, and it's just using that color information to create a mask. And that's literally what it's doing, refining the silhouette, using those colors to inform how that silhouette is created. And then after that, all you have to do is stretch it to fit, and that's it. And you know what's funny? Someone also just pointed this out to me. I didn't realize this, but the Shockwave asset is apparently stretched the exact same way that the clouds are, meaning that there was some, maybe some, I don't know, overall transformation that happened to the entire image, and it was all stretched in the same way, which means, well,
is that typical that an artist,
VFX style, like,
yeah, is it typical that an artist would use the same stretch style on multiple objects in one project? I would think, right?
More like they may have stretched at the same time, or in the same way.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would kind of make sense, especially if it's one guy making the whole video, right?
Exactly. And then that's another thing too that comes up. Like, someone would need mega equipment. Like, my computer is not amazing. Like, my graphics card is almost, I think it's 6 or 7 years old at this point.
My best video card is just a 10. Yeah. You don't. I mean, my best video card is like a 1080, which is years old at this point. You know.
It doesn't take crazy simulations and 3D. It'd
just be a longer render time if you had a crappier video card, though. Really, right?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
In other words, if you didn't have the latest, greatest video card, like let's say you had one from 2014, it would just take longer to render the scene, right?
Literally, that's it. That would probably be the only.
Yeah. So some arguments have been made that this couldn't have been done in 2014. How do you feel about that argument?
I mean, well, I just said that, like, even my CPU for example, is probably older than 2014. So I don't think that's really, it's not a good argument to make. I don't think.
Yeah, I get by. I fix computers, so I get by with I call it OPT, other people's trash. You know, like I have a client upgrades. I got a bunch of Intel iMacs here because everybody's upgrading them now, and I just get by on OPT, other people's trash. I don't need to buy anything. I'll just, I'll network 4 of them if I need to, right?
And it's also just kind of disregarding the fact that they probably had a really good computer. I mean, it doesn't really come into the conversation when we can reproduce it. And
Yeah.
another thing that people bring up is, oh, you're using a more modern version of the software. But that's Adobe doesn't really, I know that they release like yearly updates, but they don't really
They don't
do
change
too
much.
to update.
Yeah.
Like they don't really change anything. Every tool that I'm using was available unchanged as it was in 2014. I think that's something really important to point out too, because it's another thing that they'll try to throw at you. But it can't come in. It doesn't come into the conversation at all.
I wanted to get into, if you don't mind, too. When this video first resurfaced, I did a quick video and said that the clouds are static. And what I said, having observed, there's a hoax UFO channel called Third Phase of Moon. I did a whole documentary on them. And a method that they used constantly was to use a static background image and then superimpose an animated UFO over it. And having seen hundreds of those from this hoax UFO channel and busted a bunch of them, I instantly said, this is a static background image that's like, not moving, and they superimposed this this animated scene of these orbs in this plane over top. But now that people are arguing the clouds are moving, and on closer examination, they do seem to have a tiny bit of motion, but I accredit that to compression from a codec. In other words, when you render it to MPG or MP4 or whatever you're going to render it to, there's compression codecs that squeeze the file down, and that can cause a slight bit of motion in what is a static image. Do you think that's what's happening here, or was there some?
I do, yes. So later on in this stream, we talked about it because it's definitely
I remember you addressed it towards the end. I'll see if we can. Here you have the clouds.
And then you also have to speed up the video to even see that movement. You have to speed up the video
to ludicrous speed. Do you remember that from Spaceballs or something?
It's crazy. It's like 1600% or something.
They have to. So in other words, for the benefit of my audience, to see any movement whatsoever in these clouds, you have to move it to like 1600 times its normal speed. So they're being dishonest when they say, no, the clouds move, and there's a tiny bit of movement. The other problem that I have that I pointed out in your live chat, and I think you agreed with me, is that the airplane goes right up to the side of some of these clouds, even appearing to go through the clouds, but the clouds don't react to the jet wash. I showed this to a jet pilot, and he took one look at it and he said, that's not real clouds. The jet wash from a plane that big would blow those clouds all over the place if it flew that close to them. So that's another argument why these are static images, besides the fact, for my audience's benefit, if they're unaware, the person that took the pictures of the clouds that were taken off of textures.com website has come forward, showed his plane ticket, and said, those are my images, here's the raw files. But people still want to argue. It's amazing.
There's a GIF floating around too of like someone took the photos that he took released, and they lined up, because you can see Mount Fuji in the background of some of the photos. They lined up a series of them, and you can see the trajectory of the plane. Like so I'm guessing the plane was taking a turn to land at the airport, and you can kind of see that progression as Mount Fuji kind of changes perspective through the photos. Like there's so many data points that lead up to this being legitimate that it boggles my mind that people are still trying to say that this is a cover-up. Sometimes things are not a conspiracy, and it's okay. You don't have to find like deeper conspiracy. Sometimes things are just what they are, and I think that sometimes people have a really hard time accepting that.
I'm just still blown away that so many VFX experts have come forward and offered their expert opinion. These videos are fake, and here's why. And by the way, I think there's a certain consensus. There's some slight differences of opinion, but the fact that the image, the background was made from a static image, all the VFX experts that I've looked at this said, yeah, that's a static image, and here's the source of it. And the same for the teleporting effect. It's this stock asset that's been around since 2009. Here it is. the fact that there's just so many VFX experts that are all saying these videos are fake and here's why. It's mind-blowing to me that somebody with no VFX experience whatsoever is going to argue with all these experts. Isn't that kind of like disrespectful to those experts? I would think so.
It is, and it's another reason why I'm so involved in this. It feels like a insult to this community, this industry, this line of work. And not just that, but there's also like the accusation like VFX artists would never be this detailed. This is literally our job. And not that this video has, an insane amount of detail. It's literally just a plain comped over a bunch of photos stitched together. But just the idea that someone can't have this creativity to make this from their imagination, it's not just insulting to VFX experts. It's insulting to humanity in general. We're a really creative species. Like someone would do this. Like, it makes me feel like people who say stuff like this haven't gone to movies. They haven't seen the Avengers. They haven't seen Avatar. They haven't seen any of these movies where all these fantastical things are happening on screen. Those things didn't happen in a different universe. Like the VFX artist made those. A VFX artist made this. It's really not a stretch. And the fact that people are still arguing this, it's so discouraging, honestly. But I think that the only cure to that is to keep speaking about it and keep showing.
No, I agree, and I admire your courage because you know that you're going to be a target. You're already a target, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a public target.
Unhinged people.
But I think that there's strength in numbers. I hope that more VFX artists will come out about this. I feel like the more come out and start being more vocal about this, then the quicker this will.
Yeah, and here's I'm gonna share part of that situation. Quick note to the debunkers who are hiding here. Reminder: I've given the evidence and Edward Lynn to the AARO, who can verify he's the guy who leaked the videos. For those unaware, Edward Lynn was arrested before the videos were released. He got in trouble.
Don't even line up with
the charges. Don't line up. The fact that this promoter of these fake videos is just, I call it research by proclamation. Like he didn't speak to Edward Lynn. He got no confirmation from Edward Lynn that he leaked the videos. He just found some dots he could connect and claimed that. But anyway, people have, without me asking, send me your real names and other personal info. You are attempting to debunk real videos and covering up a major conspiracy where 239 people were kidnapped. The government won't take the blame. The people who will be vilified and have their lives ruined are the debunkers, you. I get that you're mad, especially you, Cryshlee, but you're literally digging your own grave in a no-win situation. The MH370 videos are real, and the longer it takes you to accept this, the worse things will get for you. Just accept the consequences. And then this person says, I'm sadly going to destroy Cryshlee, which I take no pleasure in, but she brought it upon herself. Thankfully, she proved beyond any doubt that the debunks are fake for us and refuted the very points Mick West fraudulently made. And by the way, for those unaware, Mick West is another person who would probably be considered an expert in computer graphics and VFX in a court of law. That also declared the videos fake, and here's why. But he didn't want to waste a lot of time on them, so he just did, like a couple of quick pieces on why they're fake, right? There's another expert.
Yeah, so another thing that comes up, they accuse me of being like in league with Mick West. I've never spoken to him before. I didn't know about him before any of this came up. I'm not really involved in the drama that's been going on.
Here you're showing on the video how you can make the clouds move a little bit with some kind of filter or effect, right?
It's trivial to do it if you really wanted to. It's not my opinion that was done, but if that was the case, then that would be how you do it. But yeah, so I've been like accused of being like in league with Mick West in like this big conspiracy to bring down the videos. Like it's I mean, we just because there are multiple people saying that this is fake does not mean that they're all working together. It means that the video is fake.
Yeah, you would think a reasonable person would just conclude that if so many VFX experts are all saying these videos are fake, then, maybe they're fake. Maybe there's no huge conspiracy here and somebody just made these videos. I did notice in your live chat, back to Brandolini's law, you're right. All these people that think the videos can't be fake demand, Cryshlee, that you do this or demand that you do that. And I was kind of impressed that you're like, I'm an expert at VFX. I'm showing you what I can show you. I'm not taking requests or demands. You know, I think it's good to push back. Yeah, you're pushing back and saying like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, there's always some argument to be made too, you know, like, first, you know, people were arguing like, oh, first people said the clouds didn't move. Now they say they move. Well, they move if you speed it up to 1,600 times the speed.
Forget the clouds movement. In the videos, you can see in the background that there's clearly water, right? I'm not sure if you can really see it in this part of the video, but there's like these little white flecks in the background that are like very obvious wave crests. Regardless of the clouds, wouldn't the water be moving at least? Wouldn't you see some progression of those waves? It's a still photo.
Yeah, and here the plane flies right by a cloud and there's no movement of the clouds that's flying right by and through. Which,
you know, they just say that it's at a different elevation or something.
Yeah, they give excuses. They give the obvious excuses. That it just blows my mind that anybody, you know, and by the way, the promoter of this once conceded that the videos were fake and then changed his mind. I think he looked at his YouTube check every month and decided he couldn't let it go yet, right? Or something, you know. And my challenge to that person is kind of like, if this isn't about money or fame, then turn your monetization off and give back all the money you made from promoting these videos as real. And it's only fair if it's not about money, you know.
I just really want people to, I hope that we can create a more open community, maybe that's not the right word, but I just really want people to do not just their homework, but learn about some of the things that are being talked about. Don't just take my word for it. Go do some study in photography. Learn about camera raw. Learn about what else is there? Compositing. Learn about these things before jumping on people and making these baseless accusations, because it's toxic. And you complain about this, people not being taking this investigation seriously, when we're spending so much time in this petty drama. Like it's so unreal to me. It feels childish, and we could be doing so much better with our time right now.
I agree with you.
Learn about this stuff. Learn about it. You don't have to learn it from me. Like, learn about it from somewhere else, but just do some studying on it first.
I was very happy. Don't take this the wrong way, you know, but I was very happy to find out that you were a woman and was standing up to this promoter of this garbage, because he's been very nasty to another woman who also kind of debunked the videos, crudely so, you know, like misogynistically so. And I don't really like that word, but in this case it fits. Like, and I was so proud of you in that live chat earlier, because you were kind of standing up to the BS and the people making demands of your time and the people disparaging other people or calling them scammers. You kind of said, hey, not in my live chat. And no, I'm not capitulating to your demands. I'm showing you what I'm going to show you. And, you know, I was happy to see that. And kudos to you for standing up to this and sort of like giving some pushback. And honestly, I think the more people like you, Cryshlee, that are actual experts in VFX that can come together and form a consensus that these videos are fake, you know, the better. I mean, but I still wonder, like, we're up to like 10 at least VFX experts that all say the videos are fake.
At least.
But I wonder, like, if there was 100, would he give it up?
I don't know.
Would the promoters of this give it up? And what do you think he's going to do if they find the plane? I don't think he'll give it up. He'll start new conspiracy theories. That's not the real plane. They faked the wreckage, right?
Of course. I mean, that's the problem with these kinds of movements, is that they feel persecuted by not just the government, but there's like a big boogeyman that they're all kind of running from, or feel that they're being pursued by, and that makes them look at everything through that lens. And
everything's a conspiracy. Yeah.
basically, and that kind of I can understand that mindset, and it can be difficult to break out of, because it's kind of like self-retaining almost. It's like if someone comes up to you and tells you it's fake, they're lying to you. They're trying to fool you, and you don't want to be fooled. So of course you'll be resistant to that. So
yeah, but the
it can
amount
be
of
hard
mental
to get through that.
gymnastics, Cryshlee, that you have to do to still believe these videos are real. I mean, the person that took the pictures would have to be a lying CIA agent or something, right?
Exactly.
The person that found the explosion effect, he's in on it.
Apparently.
Everybody's in on it. The person that released the videos originally, I guess, I don't know, you know, and another
there's so
point that
many
I think
assumptions that needs to be made for this to check out.
yeah, and there's another thing that everybody's missing is that the channel that this video originated on was filled with fake UFO videos that were all CGI VFX. So shouldn't that be relevant that it came from a site?
No, the story there is that they released it there because no one would look for it there, or something like that, or he wanted to leak it there so that more people could see it, or whatever. And it's just always an excuse. There's no stopping it. And what I think is that there may be people that we can't reach, and I don't think that
I'm big on that too. Yeah, I'm big on that too. Like, we could save the ones we can, but some people, no matter how much evidence that we show them, and we've done some excellent sort of debunking work, but I always say I'm not a debunker, I'm a truth seeker. I go into it, I evaluate the evidence, and if it's debunked, it's not my fault. I follow the evidence. So, you know, call me what you're going to call me, but you're a debunker now, Cryshlee, and you're going to
that word. It's so dumb. It means something, but in this community, it's so stigmatized. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Like it carries so much weight now that I hate being associated with it. And all I'm doing is just showing you what's going on. I'm showing you how it's done. I'm replicating it on screen so that people can't just, they can't just say, okay, you're just saying that. You have no source. Here's the source. Here are the source files.
By the way, everybody, she gives everybody all the sources of everything she's using to recreate these videos. And despite the promoters of these fake videos claiming they couldn't be reproduced, in just hours using After Effects and an admittedly too old computer to do this work, Cryshlee is showing exactly how one person with how many hours do you think it would take to recreate this if you went from scratch? If you had the assets and you just start at 8 a.m. in the morning, like
if you're just doing, if we're talking, so I want to identify, like, are we talking about recreating it, like reverse engineering it and recreating it, or just making it up from your head?
Yeah, making it up from your head, let's say, because that's a little more difficult, right?
Probably less than a day. If you start at 8 a.m., less than a day.
And meanwhile, the promoters of this said it would take, I don't remember, they can correct me, 6 months or a year, or you need a whole team of people of tens or hundreds of thousands.
If you consider how quick, exactly. If you consider how quickly it is to put the mask on this, that took what? I think it was less than 3 minutes in total just to create this mask. Less than 3 minutes to create this, and this is on screen for one frame. Maybe stitching the photos together will probably take maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and then the drone movement, it's just a plane. It's a plane on a path going around. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult at all.
And could you also talk for a minute about the orbs? And isn't it true that there is a mathematical formula to their movement, which also sort of proves it's VFX? Because these three objects could not possibly be moving that synchronized at the same rate and everything. And,
there's probably some math involved in terms of how After Effects does the animation, but I think I talked about it on this stream as well. It's just three orbs, parented to like a null, and then the null is like rotating. It's procedural in a sense, but you just tell After Effects to rotate it on a certain axis, and then you parent that to something else. If you want to parent it to the plane, for example, then it will follow the plane wherever the plane goes. And it's just simple as that. You animate it, you parent it to another object, and that's it. There you have it. There's nothing complicated about it. And I think maybe they saw that they were synchronized, sort of, but it's just three orbs on like a ring, and then the ring is rotating.
Yeah, but it's rotating at a standard or steady rate. It's not you know, there, if it was real objects, there would be more variation in the rotation or
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, in nature it would probably be more natural movement. But we're also kind of looking at a like this is a 6 frame. I think it's 6 frames per second. So there's only movement every 6 frames too. So you can't really, I feel like you can't look at this clip and then, you know, extrapolate some kind of fantastical whatever is it that the argument is that how these orbs are moving. There's not enough information to even grasp something like that.
Yeah, and Rick Brooks asks, didn't a Reddit guy identify stock cloud footage used? Yeah, but better than that, not only did they identify the stock images used to create the clouds, but the person who actually took the pictures that were used to create that were sold to, for those unaware, there's stock image websites where you can go and search like clouds, and he was a contributor to some of those sites. They pay people to give them images of clouds. And the guy who took the pictures, Rick Brooks, came forward, gave the raw files proving that they were created before this video. And also he had like a passport and a plane ticket receipt. That's, you know, it's like it's so overwhelming that these are fake and how they were faked, that the fact that anybody is still arguing, you know,
it's fascinating.
It's so fascinating to me. Yeah, it's like watching a cult like in real time. And there's also a lot of, you know, Cryshlee, there's a lot of cult like aspects to this, which is something a cult does is control the flow of information. And certainly the promoters of this are actively trying to stop people from seeing work like yours or Quarter Crew. Anybody that goes against the narrative they're pushing is suddenly the devil. Like, you know.
I even got a there's someone out there, I'm not sure what their username is, but they have been trying to get people on that side to report my account for harassment and incitement of harassment. I'm not harassing anyone. Who am I harassing by showing people how these videos are made? And if they're trying to get my Twitter taken down, like all kinds of crazy.
That is crazy. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are lists of debunkers and people
that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Yeah, and I have something that I could share about that. There are lists of people. This person, Grider Browning, says, "Hey guys, your accounts are currently being targeted for harassment by this account. I reported the account to incitement and targeted harassment. Take whatever precautions you feel necessary." And here's some of the people that are, Cryshlee, you're on that list. And you know who else? Fires of Truth. This is Spooky, who does graphics and used to help with my show here, is a big friend of the show, a chat room moderator here, is on that list. And I asked Spooky, what did you do to get on this list? And Spooky said, I
think the picture right there at the bottom, it shows the account that, if you could click on it, or no, I don't think you have to.
No, this is one screenshot, so I apologize.
The account right there, the 42 something, that is the person who's been telling people to report my account for harassment. Jeez. And that's their block list. They have me blocked. I've never spoken. I don't think I've spoken to this person before ever.
I can find another way to share that. I apologize. I just have to put it in an image viewer and share it that way. 1 second, I'll do it from there. Yeah, it's insane to me. This is cult-like behavior. Like, these people are going against the cult of the fake MH370. We got to get them. And we've seen this in multiple other hoaxing events and other things. You know, they use these cult-like tactics, which is disturbing that they would go that far to try to harass people. And let's be clear, Cryshlee, they're trying to harass you to just say, you know what, this isn't worth it, and just shut up and move on. That's what they're trying anyway, you know.
They're trying. They're not going to succeed. And if for any reason any of my accounts get taken down, you know why. Now you know why.
Yeah.
But I won't be gone. I won't be gone long. If that happens, I'll be back.
Yeah, I cannot believe that some of this stuff that happens. I'm going to share that again so we can see the account. At 42 is the secret. Report these malicious accounts under X's guidelines prohibiting incitement of harassment. You'll find most of their accounts here. What? How are you harassing people, Cryshlee? How is Spooky harassing anybody? Spooky, I asked Spooky, I'm like, what did you do? And Spooky said, I asked some questions. Apparently, asking questions is now incitement of harassment. And yeah, for all we know, that this is a sock account of the major promoter of these fake videos, who is making, by some reports, a lot of money pushing this fake nonsense. You know. Just ridiculous that they would go that far. Like, hey, let's get their Twitter accounts taken down so they can't keep sharing the debunks on Twitter.
That's so like disturbing. if your evidence that these videos are real is so strong, you
should be able to withstand debate, right?
Exactly. But not a single nobody has come forward with any hard proof showing that these are real. And I think that even just letting that come into the conversation is
Cenobite says, I'm on page 2. I'm so proud. That's one of your chat mods. Welcome, Cenobite. Yes. And like I said to everybody, listen, do me a favor and go and subscribe to Cryshlee's channel. We got a couple hundred people watching. If half of you went over there, listen, we have to support the people that are telling us the truth and you know, doing good work. She's using science and showing with computer science how these things are created and educating people about how fake these videos are and suffering consequences. But there should be some benefit to doing good work for the community. And one of those benefits should be get some subscribers and have more people share her videos on their social media. That certainly helps as well. But pinned in the description of the video is a link to her latest video, and just go to her channel and click the subscribe button. I really think that she's doing excellent work. You're going to keep going on some of this, or have you had enough?
I'm not going to stop. I think that
good
it's
for
really,
you.
And I would say, if you are in this business, if you're a VFX artist, if you're any kind of artist and have experience with this, please come forward. Please share your expertise. I feel like the opposite side of this discourse has been kind of low. And the more of us that kind of share, you know, our knowledge about this, the stronger that the truth will become. Because right now there's a lot of lying going on. It's very loud. And
yeah, we could see the deception used. Like I said, all these debunks came out from the Quarter Crew, and then all of a sudden there's anonymous posters on Reddit that claim to be Marvel, the head of Marvel VFX Studios, or the lead VFX person on Top Gun Maverick, who both say these videos can't be fake. And the promoter of this puts this in his slides, like, this is my proof that the videos are real. The head of Marvel Virtual VFX said these videos are real. But where is the on the record comment? Give me his phone number, right?
No one can produce these people. It's so interesting. No one can produce these people. I think they said it was Jeffrey Ford. Get Jeffrey Ford on the phone. Where is he? Where is his statement? And then there's the other person that they always quote, I think, is the person who was on Top Gun. I'm not sure if that's
the head of Top Gun Maverick. That
source that came from somebody saying, yeah, I think this person said that wasn't even. I don't even think that one was a written comment. It was like in a podcast or something. The person was like,
it's
yeah,
pretty weak,
I think
and
said
it
was
falls
6
apart.
months.
Yes. And we want to thank Artisan Tony, who says, thanks, Cryshlee, for your work. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And you don't know this, Cryshlee, but what we do here every cash. Thank you, Artisan Tony. And also, I think there was one other one that I missed. UFO Shane gifted one True Seekers membership, which is why you should subscribe. You could get a free membership. YouTube gives them out randomly to anybody who's a subscriber but not yet a member. So thank you, UFO Shane, for also helping us too.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise the cash.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not sure. You've been doing these streams that are like pretty intense. Can you tell us what do you have planned next for going after these videos? Because I can't wait to see the next one.
Well, there have been a couple of people who have reached out to me to give statements, I guess, about the VFX. So some of those will be happening this week. As I get those details, I can share them. Aside from that, I'll keep continuing to answer questions about this. I kind of want to go through everything. So I started with the satellite video. I did kind of touch on some aspects of the other one, but after
are you going to do the thermal, the fake thermal one? Or
yeah,
please tell me you're going to do that one. Oh, good. So the good news is, friends, that there are people promoting these videos as real that have no evidence they're actually real. But the good news is that there's people like Cryshlee and others out there now. And here you're showing how the orbs worked, right?
Yeah, someone asked me how there was like a heat signature on one side. So I showed how you can do that. I showed how you do like motion blur to kind of have them, you can kind of see them kind of blur out as they, the quicker they move. Just showing like all these things are reproducible.
I'm a little confused just looking at your interface here, but I'm no animator. I was getting really good at 3D titling and stuff, but then the software I was using to do that got a little too old now, so I have to find something new to do that with. I'm upscaling like 720 video to 1080p. It doesn't work that way, or 4K. It doesn't work too good. Yeah. This is interesting, though, that you have such an expertise, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge so that people can be educated and how these things can be faked and created. I'm really happy to share. I feel like my real passion is teaching rather than VFX. And prior to this, I did have a couple of like instructional videos. On my channel. I think it's just like in the video. I had some, but I didn't really continue because I feel like it wasn't really getting too much. But I think that if, once this is done, I would definitely probably go back to making that knowledge accessible. So other subjects, if you want to learn Blender or After Effects or whatever, I'd be happy to keep teaching. Wow. Yeah. I need all the help I can get, so. Yeah, I've been using Blender since I can't even tell you. Like, I was an early adopter because I'm a Linux guy, and it was Linux first, right? And so, but I just don't have time. I wish I did, but I wish I had more time to play with things like this, Cryshlee. But life gets in the way.
It can be kind of time consuming, I guess. I could sit for hours, and
especially if you don't know what you're doing. So it takes you 10 times longer than somebody like you, to make something, right? Yeah, Brett Clark is asking, do you teach Blender? You said you're going to be doing some tutorials on your channel?
Yeah, I have a couple of tutorials on my channel already. I think I have one about animating jellyfish. I have another one where I have like a little juice box animation. So kind of simple things. Cool. But I would totally be down to teach Blender if people want to learn about that.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us tonight and encourage everybody to go over to your channel and subscribe. I can't wait to see the next live stream about this because listen, too, you don't know the buzz because maybe you're not like a UFO person, right? You're not into UFOs and aliens too much.
I'm not I'm sorry. I had to turn your volume down so it's not like giving feedback. Can you repeat what you
apologize.
Said?
I said you may not like very connected to the UFO and alien and UFO Twitter scene, but when you started making these videos, I'm telling you, it must have been like 20 people sent me your videos and were just like, "Oh my God, this girl is wrecking these fake videos. You got to see this, Steven." So it's nice to connect to you, and I'm glad you're out there. That's all I can say.
I'm happy that you reached out. I really, 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 really want to expand the conversation on this and include different opinions. I really feel like one side has been extremely vocal, and there hasn't really been too much of a
pushback.
recently there hasn't been too much of a pushback. So
Yeah.
if we can get more people on this, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. I'm
Thank you
going
for
to throw
having
you
me.
out and do a quick wrap up here.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks so much for everything that you're doing. I'm so glad that I was so glad to see that you're out there doing this, because we need somebody like you that is a real expert in these things to say, hey, here's the real deal, that the information that they're not giving you, you know?
Thank you for giving me the chance to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. You have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Thank you. All right, friends. Boy, this girl is awesome. And I had a few more things to share, but Cryshlee is very, she wanted to talk about the data and the things that she can show more than the personalities. And I understand, sometimes we get caught up in, I don't know, I guess this sort of back and forth with some of this stuff. But one of the other people that is ripping these videos apart and showing everybody how fake they are is T. Powell at TJP of Texas, who's been sharing a lot of stuff. And there is some real disturbing things that the promoter of this fake videos has been up to. Ashton is trying to head off his critics before the post a bunch of videos of Ashton being Ashton, because it will make his critics look bad. Watch the videos below. He makes all kinds of thinly veiled threats. He targets people by name, and he blasts them on this page for sharing views that he disagrees with. He doesn't even address the facts, just hand wave, it's all been disproved, and jumps to ad hominem attacks. I've been kind of here's one of those posts. Ashton uses veiled threats like this fairly often, it seems. Take this one, for example. Claiming that I am a grifter and engaging in spycraft, and that I am lying. To quote, pushing deliberately false statements, all objectively false statements. Give me his real name and I will make T. Powell go away. It's disturbing. He's going to make T. Powell go away. Why? Because T. Powell is, proving that the videos are fake. Anybody who's proven that the videos are fake, is getting threatened by this promoter, this hoax promoter. Here's another one directed at Mick West. Like I said, Mick, if and when the videos are confirmed, I'm going to have the family sue you for everything you have. You have repeatedly made false declarative statements about the videos after multiple times claiming you wouldn't look into them. I have documented your various statements for proof. You don't and can't know the videos are fake, yet you continue to pretend like you do, and even wrote a false article in Skeptical Inquirer. I will have them sue Skeptical Inquirer as well. So you better pray they don't confirm the videos. I mean, this is disturbing. This guy is out there threatening people with legal action because they say the videos are fake. Here's another one. He threatened to sue me after making a post on Reddit, not mentioning him, and presenting the facts which show the videos are fake. Now he can sleep in a bed he made for himself. This is great. It means I will sue him, pass it on to him. We got a new Corey Good. He's just going to sue all of his critics. This person who is promoting these fake MH370 videos may want to look into how terrible suing your critics can turn out in court. Go look up Corey Good's cases. Well, this completely proves my point that this guy is a total nut job, totally unhinged. Seek mental help. That's another big thing. If you disagree with this person promoting these fake videos, you're a nutbag and a mental case somehow. Great. Here are my haters. Apparently, the Redditor debunkers have been buying fake engagement and are planning on making some kind of defamatory supercut about me and promote it across Facebook and X. If you didn't know, the Redditors have a Discord where they coordinate scams and fake debunks, including the felony fraud they committed against me in December. There's no proof that the people from Reddit did that. This dummy bought fake information from a scammer. The irony is, they think I lie and slander while they make plans to do it themselves. Grider, aka Gary Gundark, aka the guy I made cry in the space the other week, is planning to target young college feminist demographic. Texas Eng admits he has spent $550 in the last few weeks paying to promote content against me and the MH370 videos.
If you are somebody out there,
and here's where it gets most disturbing. He's making live stream videos to a following of hundreds of thousands of 100 or more thousand subscribers, and he's saying things like this.
If you are somebody out there who's telling people not to talk to me, you are an absolute piece of shit, and you are one of the worst human beings on the face of the earth. And in the future, if people tell me your name, I'm going to blast you all over social media to my 100,000 followers and on live streams as well. And I'm going to
That's a threat. He's threatening critics with harassment.
Tell people what a piece of shit that you are. So don't do it. Last warning. If you're one of the people who's trying to debunk these videos, I am going to send the families after you to sue you for every single fucking penny that you have. This includes Mick West. It includes the Corridor crew. It includes Jonas DeRoe and any other debunker that puts their real name next to any debunk attempts on these videos. You have been warned. That is what I'm going to do.
Maybe I should have worn my Don't Sue Me Bro shirt. Available in our merchandise section for tonight's broadcast. He's literally saying that he's going to get the families of the victims to sue the people that are showing that the videos are fake. I think that desperation is kind of seeping into Mr. Forbes here.
Not a threat. It's a promise. I will have them take everything that you have. I will make sure the media crucifies you and make sure that you are go down in the history books as an enemy of humanity. Is that 100% clear out there, debunkers and Redditors and other pieces of crap?
If you say that the videos are fake, even if you have overwhelming evidence they are, then you're an enemy of humanity. Somebody in Griftville is getting kind of desperate, I think. This is really disturbing. This is the behavior of a cult leader. This is Scientology
not
tactics.
That he thinks he did. He 100% did more than just respond. He made a debunk video. So he's going to lose all his credibility for the rest of his life. It's not my fault. We got more. Should we post the next one or should we save the next one? I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to blackmail anyone. I'm just trying to put the information out there as soon as possible.
No, he's not trying to blackmail anybody. He's just trying to threaten and intimidate and silence any critical voices that say that the videos are fake. Listen, I agree with Cryshlee and what Cryshlee said earlier. If your evidence is so strong that the videos are real, you wouldn't be threatening to sue people that say the videos are fake, because you'd just be able to easily prove the videos are real. But Ashton can't prove that, so he just attacks anybody who says the videos are fake. And here's another great example.
UFO guy gets publicly embarrassed repeatedly. So we've got some kind of loser react streamer right off the bat, right? She's posting our content, which we can see here, right? Which we literally did debunk this. So already we're
he
talking
didn't
about
debunk
CNN
it.
brain.
he,
right? CNN
he debunked
brain,
it by
right?
declaration, not by research or evidence.
And, you know, we can just tell based on her hair and how she conducts herself that most likely she's unlovable, and that
she's unlovable because she says the videos are fake. Why does he have to attack everybody's appearance or call them a nut job or a mental case if they say the videos are fake? Why can't you just debate on the merits, sir? Why do you got to attack this girl's appearance? And I'm sorry, but maybe it's just me, right? I was raised to respect women and really all people, but women. you don't make fun of a woman's appearance, period, full stop, for really any reason. I don't get it, right? Oh, she said the videos are fake, so I'm going to tell everybody that she's unlovable. What is that?
Nobody will ever care about her in her life. Now we see her, trying to dunk on us. I'm sure she's making a butthole jokes here at this point, because that's
he deserves people making butthole jokes. Remember, famously, was it on the Danny Jones podcast? He said, "My butthole does not look like your butthole. It's not the same butthole."
Now let's keep going on. Oh, that's not enough. Oh, look, she also has to try to dunk on the fact that we had a felony crime committed against us. Felony crime committed against us. Oh, that's a good thing that we should make fun of, right? Right, Rebecca? Make fun of people that have felonies? Okay. Well, let's take a look at you, Rebecca. Let's go ahead and investigate what we find if we look up Rebecca. What do you guys think? Well,
yeah, it's great. So he's going to do, I guess, sort of opposition research on all of his critics and try to dig up dirt. That's another Scientology cult-like tactic. Fair game. Anything you got to do to silence a critic, you do it. I just keep thinking, if this evidence that this stuff was real was at all good, he wouldn't need to use tactics like this. This is the tactics of a desperate, sad little man. Attacking a woman like that. Come on, man. Thank you for your work, Cryshlee, says High Speed Chase. Hope I spelled it right. I struggled myself. I had to check it 3 times, so no worries. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, High Speed Chase, and helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, we're praising the cash. And we want to thank Wingnuts, who became a YouTube member. For those unaware, if you become a YouTube channel member during the live broadcast, we give you a big shout out and a thank you. I want to take a moment to also recognize and thank you Patreon supporters. You can join for as little as $1 a month. And all you YouTube channel members, you super chatters, PayPal pledgers, and more. We love all of you. Thank you for the support and helping us to praise the cash and keep the show flowing and going.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
All right, we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, all of you. I think that I have a few more things to share, but please, please be sure, and I could take some comments and questions from the chat. I have a little more time to share with you. Please put them in all capital letters. Brett Clark is here and says, unfortunately, over the past 5 years, the more kooks have crawled out of their holes and flocked to this kind of nut jobbery. Can't say I disagree with you. So comments and questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. In the meantime, I'm trying to find some things I wanted to share with you. Oh, yeah, I had one. We're going to go there. We're going to share this. I wasn't going to share this, but I am. It's from Jazz Deep on Twitter. Boy, sometimes to keep yourself sane, you got to laugh at some of this stuff because it is so bizarre that it's worthy of laughing at it. So look, along with all the bad of this person, profiting and promoting from the tragic deaths of 239 people with his fake videos that he didn't even create and his fake conspiracy theories, at least we get a little bit of good art out of it. So here's a song from Jazz Deep on Twitter. This is a banger, friends.
There's a difference between having an open mind and being mentally disturbed. Ashton Forbes and his following have the brain of birds. A obvious fake video made by a man who's come clean. Ashton just blocks him and says he's being mean. Hey, why won't Joe Rogan listen and accept my piss poor evidence. I should block his ass too.
Oh
For
no.
not having an open mind. Don't get me started on Mick West for not investing his time on wormholes and missing airplanes. Can't he just tickle my schizophrenic mind?
Holy shit! Holy shit! MQ-1C Gray Eagle!
And not so fast, Arthur Preston.
Did I get scammed?
Oh, geez, you gotta love it, friends. We want to thank Trolley Troll Troll, who says, yeah, I'd like to see that idiot try to collect any money from defaming him. You know, these threats of lawsuits are kind of ridiculous. Ask any lawyer how difficult it is to collect money in a defamation lawsuit. It's one of the most difficult cases to bring. You know, first of all, you have to have overwhelming evidence that the person maliciously tried to damage your reputation with things that they knew were untrue. You have to prove that they knew they were untrue and that they did it with malicious forethought. Pardon me. Then you have to prove that you suffered financial damages related to that defamation and the false statements. Showing people that videos are fake isn't defamation, and it's not false statements. But thank you, Trolley Troll Troll, for your kindness, generosity, and support, and being a longtime show supporter, and for being a member.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise the cash.
So comments, questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. I've got a little bit more time to share with you. And meanwhile, we're going to check in with our PayPal pledgers. Instructions for how to send a PayPal pledger in the instructions description, of this video or podcast. And we appreciate every single one of you, especially those people who send those big helpful PayPal pledges. We want to thank DB, who says, hey, Steve, paying my dues. Hope you and your family. One second. Hope you and your family are keeping well. With a kind and generous $10 PayPal pledge. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we've got Maria with a kind and generous $50 PayPal pledge. Longtime show supporter who says, please keep up the coverage of the wacky world of Wilcock. His latest video is crazy. I don't know if we're going to do that this week. You know, can I skip one of those 3.5 hour ego fests? Maybe not. We'll see how the week shakes out and what we have. And the 30 Kaing is here from Cryshlee's channel. I think that's a moderator from Cryshlee's channel. Big hug. Well, thank you. And thanks for what you did in the chat, trying to keep things civil. Wingnuts says, still coughing up coffee from that tune here. Well, thank you for being a member. Thank Jazz Deep for that. High Speed Chase says, good night. Have a great night, guys. Well, yeah, we appreciate all of we appreciate everything that you do, High Speed Chase, to support the show. Big show supporter and YouTube channel members. Hank McGurk is here and just says, hey, Cambian and fellows. So listen, I think we've done our due diligence. I'm sure there's a lot more that I could or should share, but back to Brandolini's law, the amount of energy and, required to dispel bullshit is orders of magnitude more than it takes to create it, which is really true. And I find it interesting that so many people have invested so much time to try to dispel the bullshit that the promoters of these fake videos have put on. And we've detailed some of that. Incredible. Brandolini's law applies to these MH370 videos. You've got 10 VFX artists all investing hours and hours and hours to say, these videos are fake and here's why. And yet some people still want to argue with them. Interesting that Cryshlee's stream earlier got sort of infected with people that want to argue. I haven't seen very much of that in our live chat. Maybe they didn't find us yet. It is what it is. I wish I'd been here from the start. Please restate the editor lady's YouTube. Wingnuts, it's pinned in the live chat, right at the top of the live chat. Just click that link and you'll go. It's Cryshlee, Cryshlee, Cryshlee TV. If you just put Cryshlee TV, or you click on her user ID, right? Oh, Cryshlee says he's on Twitter right now talking about this. Oh boy. Well, do we really want to check in? Maybe. Is it just Ashton, I think? I don't know what his... I have to look to see what his Twitter is. Yeah, I certainly don't follow him. No, that's not it. Somebody tell me in the live chat what is his Twitter handle. I don't really know. Or you know what? If I do a search for MH370, I'm sure I'll find something from him and find his. It's just X Ashton. Well, I don't see anything specific to us that he's talking about. Maybe I have to check in replies, maybe. I don't know. Macroscopic phase conjugation. Big words. Oh, yeah, he says, I did find something. Oh, man, it's getting thick. It's getting thick. Ashton says, I don't like wasting energy arguing with debunkers, but we've had a lot of new followers, and I constantly have people posting links to YouTubers promoting falsified VFX comparison. I thought it's important to address because the deception convinces even prominent podcasters like Joe Rogan, who only look at claims at face value and don't see the disinformation under the surface. Yeah, if you say the videos are fake, you're a disinformation agent. We have an impossible list of requirements to fake the MH370 videos, including an unclaimed $150,000 bounty. I don't believe he'll ever pay that if somebody reaches whatever he wants. A mountain of evidence the videos are real. What mountain? No, you don't. You don't have one verified real VFX expert who says the videos are real. And meanwhile, on the debunker or skeptical side, you've got 10 that say they're fake, and here's why. Mountain of evidence that they're real includes the name of the military personnel who leaked them. He has no verification that that person leaked them. He has no evidence they leaked them. He has his opinion that that's who leaked them. The events in the video are corroborated by real eyewitness sightings who were dismissed and discredited. The stakes could not be higher. If these videos are real, I'm putting my personal safety at risk. Oh, this is a perfect example of a grifter. Free energy is on the line for humanity. Now these videos have something to do with free energy. These videos have the potential to revolutionize the planet. I'm just going to tell you, Ashton, I'm going to ask you a direct question. How many free energy devices have you built? I have a background in computer science and electronics. I've built many of them. You know one thing in common with all free energy devices? None of them work. Free energy is not real. You cannot break the laws of physics. There's no such thing as free energy, but okay. You're turning into Stephen Greer grift here, talking about free energy and UFO propulsion by free energy. The people hiding the true fate of MH370 will do anything to prevent this information from going mainstream. It is likely that this will be the only chance any of us get in our lifetimes to set the timetable for disclosure on our terms. In the process, we could solve a cold case and find solace for 239 souls and their loved ones. I wonder what those 239 souls' loved ones think of you pushing these free energy conspiracy, garbage conspiracy theories, in which You're claiming that an entire airplane with 240 people, 239 people on it, were teleported by what, aliens? It's ridiculous. It is just complete. This guy has lost it. But it is. Yeah, I think I've had enough. It's just nonstop ridiculous, you know. All right, let's take a moment, and I have I don't know. There's a video that somebody sent me that they want me to play. This is from Lou Reviews. We're just going to play it. I don't. It's about harassment and some of the stuff in the UFO community, and kind of fits in with what we're talking about here. So we're going to share this before we close down our broadcast for the.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Jesus, it took you motherfucking long enough to bring me up to speak. God damn, bro. Agreed. You can be a skeptic and still be one of us. I'm a perfect example of that. I'm a believer, but I'm also very, very skeptical about most of the stuff I hear in these spaces. But I can still hang and be a part of the community. He could do the same if he went about it a different way, but he's got like some sort of God complex. Ugh. He's out here fapping in spaces. That's gross. He ain't gonna slap shit. He's a fucking moron. You sat here and just said he's intelligent, and he can't even do a couple minutes worth of research to determine that I am not the person he claimed I was. But he made a whole stink about it on his motherfucking show. So he's not very intelligent, like you said, Kevin. I'm sorry. I respect you, though. Well, then I will keep calling him certain words people don't like because it's great content. It's just mad weird for someone to like spit atheist at me as if it's a derogatory slur when atheists are skeptics by nature. And he claims he's like the ultimate skeptic. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you sound stupid. How about a simple Google search of Dead Bluebird will prove that I've been using this name, my gamer tag, since 2009. There's a couple YouTube channels I'm on, a couple Twitter profiles.
Man, he must have pissed her off.
On the internet. Everyone knows him as Dead Bluebird. He's dumb.
Who even is he?
Oh, some fat dude who has a YouTube channel. Yeah, he's all butthurt because Lou Elizondo broke up with him.
And
dude,
he doesn't care about
bro, I come from the competitive Call of Duty scene. Okay, I don't give a fuck about that guy. And I will yell at him and make fun of him all the time. I don't care what content he tries to make out of it. I don't care. Lewis is not the wolf. That's all he is. He's not a wolf. He's not a lion. He's a bridge troll. Whether he comes in here to speak or not, he's still going to listen anonymously and clip us no matter what. So who gives a fuck how I speak to anybody? I don't care.
Maybe. I don't know.
Nobody. None of you will tell me how I can and cannot speak to other people. He wouldn't have got called a fat fucking retard if he wouldn't have spat atheist at me like it was a slur. Brought it upon himself. He's dumb. I will make fun of him till the day I die. If he wants to stay here the entire time and be all up in our faces the entire time, I will make fun of him. Don't worry, guys. I've been doing it this whole time. I say the things everyone else is scared to say. I'll be the bitch. That's okay. Listen, I'll solve it this way. Lou Reviews, 1v1 me. Call of Duty. Any Call of Duty. 1v1 Rust. Quick scopes. Let's go.
He wants us talking another hour about him. And it's worth it if we solve this problem once and for all. Right, it's worth it to solve this fucking problem permanently. But he's a researcher. This is more of a pest than an addiction.
Lou has that same issue.
Shouldn't he just not even be ether? He shouldn't even be 0 point energy. He shouldn't even be vacuum.
Why I don't
want
to do
this
spaces.
is just a parasite, and we need to figure out how to get rid of it.
Asking me to, so I have to.
You know, in an ethical manner, and we have the tools to do it. I don't know, but this should be an easy problem to solve.
No, it should not be an easy problem to solve. He's a person. He's not a parasite. We refer to people as parasites. That dehumanizes them. He has feelings, and he's in the position he's in because he feels, a certain way because he was hurt. Like any of us would be if we were in his shoes, right? I wouldn't say we would behave the same way he would, but we can't dehumanize him like that. And, I don't know.
The fuck? I've been requesting this whole motherfucking time to come up here and ask him why he made the claim that I am Lilith a serial harasser and doxer, and you just fucking ignored my request the entire time until that fat fuck left. Thanks a lot.
She's very angry. It fucking oozes from her. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, where this started really was she used to be Lilith Rising on Twitter.
He's such a little crybaby bitch. I can't stand that dude. And then he's got little daughters like TJ and Bobby Broadway fucking messaging me. Like Bobby Broadway's like, yeah, go make some bad AI art and try to pass it off as your own. And then he tagged me in my MH370 song. Like, bro, that's not AI art, you moron. And then I wonder how Lou reviews, because Lou, you're probably still listening anonymously. Your little butt buddy TJ. Did you know he was also butt buddies with King Milkfart?
Hell hath no fury
on the KMF for fucking months and months. Did you know that? But he deleted his other account, so you probably wouldn't be able to see that. Just thought you should know. Lou doesn't have those extra dense clusters in his brain, so he wouldn't understand that.
But you know what? It could have been so easy to like Lou is in here, right? But believe me, there were more people requesting to talk to him than I could accept, right? So what do you want me to do? Just get rid of someone that everyone wants to talk to? I feel a little dirty.
You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
He wouldn't have got called a fat fucking retard.
Wow. That's something else. Apparently she's going to go on a show on Friday. People love a good argument, so should do great numbers with that, I would think. It's worked for us here. Lou says, dehumanizing others like this girl isn't part of my approach, yet this aspect often goes unnoticed within our community. I find it deeply concerning that such language is tolerated. How can we justify this? Should legal action be considered against the individual in question? I'm uncertain, but their recent behavior certainly warrants serious scrutiny. The fact that Doomer Zaddy there called to harm someone simply because they hold different beliefs about UFOs is utterly unacceptable. There's no room for discussion or acknowledgement of their humanity. It's as if disagreement automatically equates to a desire for their eradication. And this is the problem with some of this stuff. It's just so toxic. Yeah. So friends, we've done our due diligence. I'll take a few more comments and questions from the live chat. Monkeys throwing poo. Yeah, that's kind of what this equates to. Patty says, this is hilarious. YOY Fool says, she doesn't like me either. Oh, no. Imagine being stuck in with that. Yeah, hell hath no fury like a woman, man. I don't like arguing with women. I generally don't. I don't even argue with my wife, man. They always win. Especially if it's your significant other. They got the trump card, so they usually win any argument. One of them is on the phone to the duty doc. We've got to be quiet here. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm a competitive Call of Duty expert. Oh my goodness. All right. Miss Tessa Marie is here, says, late getting here, Stephen. Hello, fellow truth seekers. Yeah, can I get anything? Like a watch? We started 2 hours and 22 minutes ago, but I'm still happy to see you, Miss Tessa Marie. Better late than never. You got to make a big entrance. Yes, Patty says, you can't win when you argue with us, correct? Absolutely. So listen, I want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors. I want to thank our wonderful surprise guest. I only connected with her like an hour or two before the show. Excellent guest, and I hope we'll hear more from Miss Cryshlee. And again, pinned in the live chat and in the description of this podcast is a link to her latest video. From there, you can just click on her channel and go and subscribe. I highly recommend it. And also, you can follow her on Twitter. Be sure to do that. It's at Cryshlee, CRYSHLEE, at CRYSHLEE. Go follow her on Twitter. Go follow her on YouTube. I think she's doing excellent work, and I love to see that. I love to see somebody that's doing, we try here, I always say this, we try to be of public benefit to our viewers here. And she's certainly doing that. It's definitely a public benefit to dispel these fake conspiracy theories and to, educate people about the truth behind some of this stuff. You saw me the other night, Hank. You had that look in my eye. Yeah. And in closing, I just wanted to mention that if the promoters of these fake videos arguments were so strong, they wouldn't need to resort to threatening to sue people. They wouldn't need to resort to making lists of people to have their accounts messed with, or, report people for abuse and harassment when all they're doing is talking about the videos being fake. These are cult-like tactics that are kind of disturbing to see. It's been a while, quite honestly, since people have doxed, threatened, intimidated, or harassed me, but I'm sure that given my stance that these videos are 100% fake. And by the way, my opinion is not just formed of my own research into this and my own experience with computers and video editing and VFX. My experience with animation and VFX is quite limited. I defaulted to the experts, people like Quarter Crew and Cryshlee and Mick West and others. How can this person, Ashton, stand in the face of all those experts and say, I'm right and you're wrong? To me, it's the height of arrogance and stupidity. But that's just my opinion. Well, what more can I say? So we've done our due diligence for this evening. I will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got 3 or 4 more great shows ready to go in a folder. And I'm hoping to get as many of them in as possible, sort of make up for our lack of live shows last week, which again, I apologize, but being a married father of 2 children, one of them special needs, sometimes you just got to take a step back and get some things done in the real world. And that's what I was doing last week. And so, I'm sorry to those people who said, oh, this isn't a live show, or, come on, we did produce something like 14 hours of replay content, which I thought was excellent because it was so information packed about all these UFO crash retrieval cases and about all these former UFO whistleblowers that never proved anything, but they all made lots of money selling their stories. History really is our greatest teacher. So, what more can I say? I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No place I'd rather be, and I hope you'll be here with me. We want to thank our excellent guest, Miss Cryshlee, and remind you again, in the description of the video and pinned in the live chat, that is her YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe and follow her on Twitter. It's at CRYSHLEE, Cryshlee. I hope that's right. But for the benefit of the audio podcast listeners, it's at CRYSHLEE. And also for the benefit of the audio podcast listeners, you can find her YouTube channel very easily. Just go on over to YouTube, click the little magnifying glass, the search bar, put in CRYSHLEE TV. That's her YouTube channel. You'll find her over there doing great work, educating people and dispelling bullshit, which is something that I highly support. Can't tell you how much I enjoyed her stream earlier tonight. Watch her latest video. It's really worth it if you want to get an education into how these fake videos were created. And so that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Canby, and good night, and God bless all of you.